Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do the risotto from the Paris House at Home menu. We have two risottos on. We have the butternut squash risotto, which is a vegetarian version with chestnuts and oyster mushrooms. And we also have the lobster risotto with scallop roe and tiger prawn. What you find in your pack is 4 items. You have a shallot and white wine pot. You have a mascarpone and parmesan pot. You have arborio rice, and you also have this kind of ingredient pot, the flavour pot. And the vegetarian version has got butternut squash and coconut puree, roasted mushrooms, charred red onions, and chestnuts. And then the lobster version has got roast lobster tail, lobster claw, lobster bisque, peas and fennel. So people seem to struggle with risottos, and it's the rice, cooking of the rice, which seems to get people kind of caught up. So I want to show you exactly how I do it and kind of give you some of the tips and tricks that I use to get a really good risotto. So it starts with a good pan, and what we've got here is a wide-based skillet, and so you want to get that hot but not too hot, kind of a gentle fry, and we're going to start by adding just a tiny bit of olive oil to that pan. So when your oil's nice and hot, then you add your rice. And what we're looking to do here is to gently toast the rice and kind of fry the outside surface. We're going to cook it until the outsides of the grains become slightly translucent. Maybe toast the rice very slightly, but we don't want to burn it. So whilst we're toasting the rice, we're going to put a pan of water on to the boil, or you can use a kettle if you want. Traditionally you'd use a stock, but for simplicity of this delivery process, we're cooking the rice with water, and then that flavour bag at the end with all of the other ingredients will give you all that kind of depth of flavour. But if you have vegetable stock and you're doing your butternut squash risotto, then please substitute that water for vegetable stock. And likewise, if you're doing the lobster risotto and you've got some fish stock, then please use fish stock instead of water. But the end result will have plenty of flavour. So keep moving the rice about, making sure that it's not burning. And as soon as the rice has got that kind of very thin translucent layer around the outside, you can start adding your shallots and your wine. So you add your shallots and your wine, and you're going to reduce this wine down, and what will be left behind is this kind of grapey acidity from the wine, which will help season the risotto up. So keep the risotto moving, and by stirring the rice, what you're doing is kind of taking that starch off the outside of the rice and kind of helping to thicken the liquid around. And what you'll end up with is this kind of rich, creamy, silky liquid that's kind of coating the rice grains, and that gives that the lovely creamy texture to your risotto. So all the way through the cooking process, you're going to keep stirring and moving that rice. And when the wine's almost reduced and the pan's almost dry, you're going to put your first ladle of water in. Keep stirring, keep moving, you don't want it to catch on the bottom. And what you're looking for is a nice rapid simmer, not too hot, but also not too cold. It wants to be a good steady simmer. So as the rice is getting to this kind of stage and most of the liquid is evaporated, you're going to be adding your next ladle of water. Now you want to keep repeating this process until the rice is just cooked. And the way that you can tell the rice is cooked is if you kind of crush it between your fingers or eat a piece, the kind of centre of that rice is no longer chalky. You want to catch it just when that chalkiness has disappeared. If you overcook the rice, it will become very kind of bitty and horrible. So getting the cooking right is absolutely crucial. And this process is probably going to take about 20 minutes from start to finish to get that rice perfectly cooked. So the rice is really starting to thicken up now, and you're really getting that kind of creamy, silky texture around the outside of the rice. All of that stirring has helped to thicken and create that kind of creamy liquid. So at this stage, the rice is so nearly there. If you just try a piece and kind of crunch it with your teeth, and you can feel that chalky piece is just about to disappear. At this stage, turn the pan right down, and then we're going to add our flavour. So in this case, this is the lobster bisque. It's got scallop roe, peas, fennel, really rich and tasty lobster stock in there, roasted lobster tails, roasted tiger prawns, and that lobster bisque is just going to make the whole thing super rich. So gently fold that through. Bring that back to the simmer, and we're going to cook that down, allow some of that kind of lobster stock to get absorbed into the rice. If you were making the vegetarian version, this is exactly the same stage that you would put your butternut squash puree with your roasted mushrooms and onions in. Keep moving the rice, keep stirring it, and we're just finishing off the cooking of that rice at this stage. Some people like their risottos quite soupy. I like mine to be kind of nice and firm, not hard, but kind of got a bit of texture to it. If you like your soupy, then this is probably at the stage, as soon as that rice is cooked, then you take it off and you finish with your mascarpone. So for me, that's perfect. I'm just going to check the rice one more time. It's totally lost that kind of chalky centre, but it's still got plenty of bite, and it's also picked up all of that beautiful lobster stock flavour. So turn the heat right down, and then your last pot is your mascarpone in your parmesan pot. That just gets put in last thing. Fold that through. So there we are. Now all we've got to do is serve it up. So a big spoon. It's a very hearty amount here. It's very filling, very rich. So there we go, this is your lobster, prawn, scallop roe, fennel and garden pea risotto. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you.